What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, we have a rumored update to that God of War spin-off game. Comes from Jeff Grubb. This is really one of the two people that is the sole reason, that we even know of this game's existence, I guess, if you still believe in it. But, he had come out, and he had talked about Marathon, and he had talked about God of War, and I think he was talking about Marathon first, about it being pushed. We know that's true, right? It got delayed, and I believe he, said out loud that it's been delayed till 2026, and he also said, and the unannounced Greek God of War project, which I heard was pushed into 2026 as well. So there's our update. We went through Summer Game Fest, which we knew PlayStation was going to be at. It turned out to be just Death Stranding, and we knew that Kojima was going to go. I just kind of had hope maybe that, they would maybe do two things there. And of course, they went through the State of Play, and, the State of Play obviously was very first-party light, let's call it, for all intents and purposes. So, we went through that whole arc, and we didn't get nothing. And then I thought, and a lot of people thought, okay, well, what's going on with God of War? And I do think this is kind of, you could say it's obvious, but it's good to hear it out loud just so you can kind of okay, this, it does make sense, right? You passed up all of those opportunities to show it off, and then it's well, is it still coming in October or November? You got Ghost of Yotei early October. If it's your November game, I know it's small and all, but you should still probably show it, right? So I think this makes more sense that, okay, this is why it wasn't shown, because now it's probably, you imagine it was originally maybe a November-ish type thing. Maybe now it's a February, March. So, honestly, I think that opens up the possibility, you start to move your sight towards, September and maybe a State of Play there, which, would follow suit and hopefully would be more first-party centric than this last one. And I think that also makes sense because, you got Marathon kind of in limbo, God of War, Ghost of Yotei would just be a month away by the time you get to September. Saros is still supposed to get gameplay, all of the stuff that we've talked about. So I do think it makes sense to do more first-party stuff in a, potential September State of Play. But it makes sense, I guess, why you haven't shown it yet, and hopefully you show it, over the next couple months. Not the biggest deal to me. I want it, and I'm very interested to see, what, as we hear the Metroidvania thing, and, as we talked about in the past, it's hard to come back from that. We've heard so many different rumors, right? And it keeps moving. It was a, it was a spin-off, or it was a prequel. Maybe it was going to be a remake. Maybe it was going to be a remastered trilogy, and then, it works its way. Now it's a spin-off, definitively, and now it's a 2.5D, Metroidvania thing. You can't really move it from that. That is what the game is, at this point in terms of the rumor. So at this point, I just want to see it. Just want to, see what it looks like, kind of see the scope. You can imagine these games have a general scope already, but I'll be patient. I'll wait just a little bit longer. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.